Hello everyone, Republic Jim here, coming to you from the workout area of Barn Body Fitness World Headquarters. It's currently a balmy, approximately 31 degrees Fahrenheit in here, and I just was warming up and getting ready to do my workout, but wanted to talk a little bit about some controversy I've been reading on the internet lately in various forums, which regards the new Army combat fitness test. And I found it kind of interesting that there's been a lot of complaints that it's too difficult and not fair and that sort of thing. The previous test, I guess, just had push-ups and I'm not sure. Anyway, push-ups and maybe sit-ups or pull-ups and 2-mile run. I guess I should have done more research on what exactly it was, but at any rate, the new Army combat fitness test involves 6 different events, and there's been a lot of talk about it. They've delayed implementing it, and part of that's been because of the equipment needs, part of it because of COVID, but a lot of it is they keep getting pushback about the difficulty and whether it's fair for male and female and such, and I'm not going to get into that whole discussion since obviously I'm male. I'm just going to offer the perspective that I have, but I just a couple of days ago turned 54, and for the most part in the Army they're talking about guys in their late teens or 20s. I've seen some comments that the new test is not fair to people that have been in the Army for a while. They didn't sign up to have to pass that sort of physical test, and there's people that have office jobs and you know, in their 40s or 50s or whatever, and it's too difficult for them, and that's not right. And as a 54-year-old, I find that a little bit insulting. I actually work full-time in an office job. I do construction work on the side, but primarily in a job that's fairly sedentary and obviously getting up there in age. But I've been working out for approximately 5 years now on a fairly consistent basis with the work that I do with having a full-time job and also doing work on the side and having a household to maintain and vehicles to take care of and all sorts of other things. You know, I don't have the time to devote to working out that a lot of younger guys without responsibilities do. So on average, I probably do 3 to 4 days a week, but you know, I'm getting decent results. I'm not any genetic freak, and there's a lot of guys that lift that would consider me fairly weak on the main lifts. My maximums are not that impressive or anything, but just out of curiosity, I thought I would try some of the events in the Army combat fitness test just to see how I would stack up. It's not something that I specifically train, although I do the hex bar deadlift quite a bit. That's my favorite event. It's just regular part of my training. But in general, I just work on compound lifts, the big movements primarily, and do some, you know, chin-ups and push-ups and things too, and sprinting and occasional running and such. But I do have some permanent lower back damage from too many years working as a roofer, and I've got a knee that gives me problems sometimes, especially if I run much distance. So I'm not quite as good at that event as I would have been when I was younger, when I was an active distance runner. But at any rate, the 2 main events in the fitness tests that get the most complaints seem to be the deadlift and the leg tuck. So I'm just going to focus on those today, and it's icy and snowy outside. I can't really go out and do like the a sprint drag carry event, or it's kind of bad conditions for doing any kind of power throw type thing. So not even going to deal with that. And I realize that just doing 2 events is certainly not as taxing as doing all 6 of them, but you know, this is not like a overall comparison to doing the whole test. I just wanted to check out a couple of those events and see how this old fart can deal with that. And you know, maybe in next spring or summer when the weather is right, I'll set up something where I can simulate all 6 events and just do them in rapid fire. But for now, I'm somewhat warmed up, although I've been cooling off talking here. So I'm going to shut this off for the moment and do some ramp up sets on the deadlift, and I'll get back to you when I'm ready to do those 2 actual events. Okay, I got all ramped up in my weights and I'm ready to roll here. So what I have here with my mismatched set of weights is got a 45, a 35, a couple of 25s, and a 2.5 pound. So it comes out to 132.5 per side, or 265 pounds total on the plates, and then a 75-pound trap bar. So total there is 340. And just in case anybody is wondering why I chose to put that weight on the bar, it's because that's the maximum points that you can get on the trap bar deadlift for the Army Combat Fitness Test. It's a 3-rep max, but the maximum points is for 340. There's no point doing anything heavier. So that's what I have on there. So here we go. Three, 4. Now I'm just showing off. And 5. Like I said, it's supposed to be a 3-rep max, but I did 5 reps just because I can. And anybody that lifts should be able to handle that without too much trouble, really. If they do any deadlifting, any young athletic guy should be able to work up to that relatively quickly if he deadlifts on a regular basis. So I don't see what the problem is. Now, granted, I weigh about 180 pounds, which I know is heavy by the Army standards. So obviously I should do better at that. But then that's actually a negative when it comes to doing the leg tuck. So I'm going to go ahead and do the leg tuck on the bar there now. And you know, like I said, my weight should be a problem or a handicap on that. And, you know, I've read a lot of complaints that there's people having a hard time completing 1 rep, let alone doing like the amounts needed for the more difficult MOS and such. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that don't have any problem, but it is a big topic of conversation. So anyway, haven't totally caught my breath from showing off and talking while doing the deadlift, but I'll go ahead and go straight into that anyway, rather than taking an extended rest. And I'll try doing it with a little bit of a pause, both when I'm hanging and at the top of the leg tuck, just to show that I'm not using momentum or a stretch reflex or anything, but try to do it under control. And hopefully this shows up okay. Got my hands just about an inch apart on the bar here. And okay, there we go. Now I'm at a dead hang, feet not touching anything, and let's see how it goes. 1, 2, oops, a little sway going there. 3, 4, 5, 6, see, still not touching anything with the feet. 7, 8, 9. See, now it's starting to hurt a bit. I'll just hang here and catch my breath just a bit. See if I can get that 10th rep in. 10. There. That was challenging, I'll grant that. But then again, if I wasn't talking and pausing and such, I'm pretty sure I could get at least 12 of them right now. And if I trained it much, I could get more. So, again, not bad for a 54-year-old that is overweight by Army standards. But, you know, I'm not saying that the ACFT doesn't serve a purpose or that it's too easy or anything like that, but I'd certainly say that it's not too hard. Seems like a realistic set of tests for young guys to do, and guys that have been in the Army for a while. Just because someone's in their 40s or 50s obviously doesn't mean they can't do this sort of thing. So I'll just catch my breath and wrap this up now. And after I do that, I'll get back to the rest of my workout. But just wanted to do that and see how it went. And obviously, even though it got me a little winded on that, if I have a little recovery time, I would be easily able to do some other parts of the test. So I probably will simulate the whole thing sometime this next summer. But until then, I've got other stuff to do, and I'll talk to you later. This has been Republic Jim.